February 14th, 2019. So let me see, that's a 217. Wait, what? A 217. No, why am I doing February 4th, 2019? Change of plans. February 4th, 2020. Let's see. Now, you know what February 4th... Because... That's it. 2, 1, 8, 2. Wait, 2, 1, 8. Yes. 2. So that's 13 divided minus 15 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This Friday, February 14th, 2020. This Friday will be a very special day for people watching this video. Because if you didn't know, February 14th is a well-known American holiday that is celebrated by Americans and only Americans. Because February 14th is the statehood day of Arizona. Let me take you back. Around the time of... In the 1860s... Back in the... Let me teach you something. Back... What? What's going on? In the 1500s, the Span... Let me teach you something. Shortly after the Tower of Babel, and around 2000 or something BC, the first people, descendants of Magog, arrived from Siberia and Mongolia to North and South America. These were descendants of Magog, son of Japheth, son of Noah. Then, about more than 3,000 years later, in the 1500s, the Spanish came. Well, technically the 1500s and 1600s. Now, the time from the 1500s to the 1900s was a time of great colonialism. Basically, every country was either colonizing or getting colonized. In fact, there are very few countries that don't fit into either category, if any at all. And the Spanish were the ones that colonized Arizona, as well as almost all of the United States west of the Mississippi. Except for the part that the French controlled. Wait. Wasn't there also a Spanish Louisiana at one point? And there was a French Mexico. Wait. So anyway, the Spanish controlled basically almost all of West. So basically, there are two rivers, the Missouri and the Mississippi. The part of the United States that the French colonized is basically the lands between those two rivers. They also colonized a lot of Canada and the entire nations in the Caribbean and that's pretty much it for the Western Hemisphere. The nations that the British colonized is basically everything east of the, Mississippi River. And they also colonized some of the Caribbean, Belize, and the country of Guyana in the Western Hemisphere. And the Spanish basically colonized everything else. Well, the Dutch colonized Suriname and New York, and the Portuguese colonized Brazil. So the Spanish colonized basically everything west of the Missouri River. That is Canada. They also colonized almost all of Central America except Belize. Means all of the Caribbean that hadn't already been colonized, and they colonized all of South America except for Guyana, Suriname, French Guiana, and what else? So Guyana, Suriname, French Guiana, and Brazil. So in this area was the U.S. state of Arizona. Then guess what happens? In the early 1800s, after about the 1700s, colonization was going on the decline. The United States won their independence in 1783. After that, several other places became independent. For example, Mexico gained its independence in the very early 19th century when colonialism was already on the decline. Colonies never really ceased to exist. Wait, what's the difference between a territory and a colony? If there even is one. If there isn't, then yeah. If there is, then the colonies cease to exist. So basically, in the early 1800s, the Mexicans were like we're independent now. So what? And Mexico basically, and back then the definition of Mexico included basically all of Spanish America except for South America and the Caribbean and Central America. So it was basically Mexico and the entire portion of the United States colonized by Spain. Then, in 1836, Texas got its independence. Then, finally, in around 1848, the Mexican-American War was over. No, it ended in around 1849 or something. Anyway, the point is the Mexican-American War was over, and Mexico ceded a large amount of territory to the U.S. This territory includes Arizona. Note, at the point this was referred to as New Mexico Territory, because Texas had already become independent. However, in the 1860s, the territory was New Mexico Territory was split in half into, New Mexico Territory and the Arizona Territory. On January 7th, 1912, New Mexico became a state, followed by Arizona on February 14th, 1912. Fun fact, February 14th, 1912 is the day Arizona became a state. That's why Americans celebrate February 14th, because that's the day that the Union grew to 48 states. Prior to that was 47, and prior to New Mexico was 46. Thanks. And if you want to know when the 49th and 50th states joined, Alaska and Hawaii respectively, it was in the 1950s. In fact, wasn't it on the same year or something? I don't know. Wait, Hawaii became a state on August 21st. Fun fact, on August 21st, 2017, there was a solar eclipse, a total solar eclipse that spanned across the continental United States. So that means that a solar eclipse happens on the birthday of Hawaii. Now, what day did Arizona become a state? Let me see, 1912. Well, 1900, so that's 31004 Thursday. Go back 15 days. Arizona became a state on Wednesday, February 14th, 1912. So hooray the state of Arizona. Now, what day, on the topic of days, what day of the week was, just kidding. So February 14th, remember, that's the day that that's the birthday of the U.S. state of Arizona. Remember that, because it's going to be important. How do I stop this?